Hi there. This is a collection of videos specifically focusing on the development and production of complex business proposal responses. It's not your basic 1 to 10 pager, 10 to 20 pager RFP response, where you take cookie cut content from a repository, clean it all up, package it, ship it out. Thank you, next, move on. This is not one of those conversations. We will not be spending too much time right off the bat focusing on your cover page, about us, the structure of an RFP response. We'll cover that later down the road, but there are several things before that you'll need to at least understand and have a bit of a background. Complex business proposal or complex RFP responses. What that looks like is one where it will take you approximately 3 to 9 months, sometimes even a year to complete. Reason being is that there are testing components that requires your company to conduct before you can prescribe a solution or a program for your customer. You'll also be enrolling other functional groups such as sales, marketing, and HR, finance, supply chain folks to be part of this core group that's developing the RFP response. And so it takes a lot of folks, it takes a lot of capital investment, time, and commitment from your company. And generally, producing one of these complex RFP responses could run your company around $200,000 to $400,000 easily for that amount of time to produce this. It's a big investment, right? But the return is also quite significant. You're looking at contract wins at around in the millions of dollars, and in some instances, it's millions of dollars per year for 5 years with 2 years extension, right? Sometimes it could be for 4 years and 2 years extension. So it all varies depending on the contract, the proposal itself, and so on and so forth. When we talk about complex RFPs, we are generally referring to companies in the heavy industries. And these, what's considered heavy industries are the following: oil and gas, petrochemical, steel, cement, those sort of industries, earth moving equipment, for example, right? Those are generally companies that will, in those industries, will generally issue RFPs that will require technology and service components, right, in those RFPs. Now, light industries, in some instances, also will be issuing complex RFPs as well. And these are your pulp and paper, and sometimes your semiconductor, auto industries, and in some instances, food and bev, right, will also issue some of these complex RFPs. Now, when responding to an RFP, there are 3 things you need to keep in mind, in the back of your mind. Number 1, why is the customer looking to change, right? Just because they issue an RFP does not really mean that they're looking to change. About 60-70% of these RFPs are done in order to, number 1, keep their existing service provider honest, quote unquote, honest. They want to make sure that what's in the marketplace today is near equivalent to what they're getting. They want to check on price to make sure that the price is within the range of what they're expecting it to be and what they're paying today. So sometimes these are the reasons why companies do an RFP effort, right? Also for compliance sake, they will want to say that they had conducted an official RFP program and have decided to stay with who they have today. So, these are just some of the reasons why people do what they do in terms of issuing RFP and not doing anything at all. But the other part of the equation here is critical, is that you need to know why the company and what the prospective customer is issuing an RFP. What are their drivers? What pain point are they seeing, or they're experiencing, or they're going through today, where you believe that your solution is the right fit, right? Understand their need, and the why change conversation is critical. Okay, and there are many ways of getting to that, right? We'll cover that in some other videos later down the road. But what's important now is, just the overall basics, right? Understand why the customer is looking to change. The second thing you need to work on is be able to convey to the customer why they should choose you. Why you, right? How are you uniquely positioned to be able to address their needs, their concerns, to be able to solve their problems? Why you is critical. This, you got to be careful not to end up pounding your chest with war stories on all that jazz. Okay, you got to be subtle, tactful, and yet convincing enough to say why you, that your solution, that your team, your company is the best fit for what the customer is looking for. And the third thing here is, this is what most folks may not be sharing with you in the other programs, right? And that is, how is your solution or your recommendation going to help your customer not just meet its objective, but the underlying message there is, how is your solution able to help them reduce their risk exposure, right? Their risk exposure is something that they will never share with you, but when you do your risk analysis, why choose you? And then why change? When you do all of that work and you're able to convey why your solution, ultimately your company, how you guys are able to help your customer or help this customer reduce their risk exposure. That's a critical component, especially from companies in the heavy industry. With that said, if you're able to address the why you, following the why change first, and then how all of this is going to help the customer, it certainly gives you a lot more points than any other approaches, from my experience. One thing to keep in mind as well in your proposal response, be mindful that you do not start with why you, right? Why choose us? Because we're X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. I've been privileged and lucky to have been on both sides of the equation at one point in time. Companies that start up with saying why we should choose them gets a fairly low score, because that's right off the bat, what that tells me is that they're interested in hearing themselves speak as opposed to understanding my challenges and my problem, right? So in your RFP response, make sure you echo and really get the point across that you understand the customer's need to change, right? The customer's needs for a change or etc. Right? So organize it that way. Keep that in mind. Echo those things. You score fairly great. This is just the base of it, and we'll go into more detail in the following videos.